What up? Hey, everybody, welcome. I've missed you so much. Welcome to Warrior Wednesdays. I'm so excited. We are starting off Fibroids Awareness Month early. It's June, I know. Fibroids Awareness Month is in July, but I am the host of the Night in White that is given by the White Dress Project. And it's coming up July 15th. So I want to do all these lives about fibroids, y'all. I got to get it popping. I see you coming in the room. Let me know where you are from. Welcome to Warrior Wednesdays. If it's your first time here, this is a space where we openly, transparently, and very safely talk about women's health and fertility, as well as men's health. And we do have a focus on women of color, y'all, because you know what? We're not part of the broader conversation of infertility here, but we are doing it here. We are helping each other right now. We are getting these faces out here. We are debunking myths. So welcome to Warrior Wednesdays. We're going to be talking about fibroids today with a lovely woman, y'all. So get in here. Let me know where you're from. New York City is in the building. What's up, April Nixon? Hello, Phenomenally Autistic. You guys, if you haven't checked out, there is a page called Kelly Stewart Inspires, and it is hosted by and run by a beautiful young woman, Phenomenally Autistic. Please check out her page. Please check out her artwork. She is just an amazing person, and she tagged me one day on this beautiful art that she made of me, and my God, every single day she is dedicated to showing me love, and I just want to say a sincere thank you to you, Phenomenally Autistic. So check her out, you guys. What's going up, Sherman, Texas? How you doing? Welcome to Warrior Wednesdays. I'm glad you're in the building. You guys, if you or somebody that you know has fibroids, I need you to go ahead and send them this live, because if they want any questions answered, they're going to have to be here live in order to do that. So make sure you sent them. Someone is telling me April went in last October to remove 4 fibroids and had 47 removed. Girl, put your makeup on. You might have to come on this live and join me and Monica Day in a minute, okay? So brush your hair. I need to know all about it. What's going on? My friend all the way from the UK is here. I see you, girl. What's happening? What's happening? All is well in your world. I just know it. So thank you guys for joining. I'm looking for Mama Stu before. South Africa is in the building, y'all. Hi, South Africa. How are you? Let me put my glasses on and stop pretending that I can see. Y'all know me. Nandi Teeny, hello. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Woo, it's like a whole new world opens up. I'm looking for Mama Stu. I'm looking to see if she came in here, but I don't know if she did. Somebody reach out to my mama and tell her to get her behind in here. I don't like doing this show without her. Black women and infertility. If you guys aren't following Black women and infertility, I just love what they do. Please follow them. Please go say hi to them and show them some love, because there's so many advocates that are out here talking about these issues, women's infertility and the underlying conditions that inhibit us to the pregnancies that we desire, but we are going to push through, Lord, and we do this with faith. And we do this with abundance, and we do this with a lot of help and support. And this is where we get it done. So without any further ado, okay, y'all. So Monica Day, I did a podcast with her called Tea Time with Monica. It is her podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and link it afterwards on my story and everything. And I was a guest on her show, and she is the most delightful, wonderful. She calls herself the curvy diva, y'all. She's an MC. She's a host. She's an entrepreneur. She is all things. She also is a fibroid survivor, and she is a board member with the White Dress Project. Okay. So if you're not following the White Dress Project, you need to, now. You can find them at We Can Wear White on Instagram, at We Can Wear White. Y'all get it, like the white, because we have our periods and we have our fibroids and sometimes we bleed a lot, but we can still wear white. Okay, so I need you to go follow them and also check out their site, because I am the host of the Night in White, July 15th, honoring Fibroids Awareness Month in July. So Monica Day, a board member, a fibroid survivor, a podcast host, an advocate for health. She's going to tell us her story, and she's going to tell us about a new diagnosis that she just got and the information that she's learning about that. So let me get to it and let me go find her. Y'all, bring a friend in here. I see everybody waving and saying hello. Hours to Monica Day when she gets in the building, please. I'm waving hi to everybody as well. Hey!
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, beautiful?
I'm doing well. Thank you for a warm introduction.
Please, thank you for being here because see, okay, what I'm gonna tell everybody, I'm very, very honest in these streets. What's up, everybody from We Can Wear White that's following We Can Wear White. Welcome to Warrior Wednesdays. Thank you for joining me here. This is a safe space where we talk about Black women's health and infertility. We talk about all the underlying conditions that inhibit sometimes pregnancy or just inhibit our quality of life, right? Like, if we try to get all the
Right.
information, we have doctors here, we have women and men that talk about infertility here. So it's a really cool space to be. But what I want to say is that my guest that was originally going to be on today had to cancel.
Mm-hmm.
So I texted Monica and I was like, girl, we doing this thing for We Can Wear White. We're doing this thing for the White Dress Project. You know anybody that might want to jump on here tomorrow? And she was like, and I said, okay, because people be
Yes,
working behind the scenes. They may not want to be in front of the scenes, but you're here. Welcome, gorgeous Monica Day. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Just happy to be here to share my story and to let people know that they have a voice and they can speak up about fibroids. They don't have to be afraid of what's going on with their bodies, and they are their own advocate when they go to the doctor. You are your own advocate. You are the CEO of your health.
The CEO of your health and your whole life. Let's get into it, okay?
Yes,
I
yes.
want to hear your story. First of all, when do you remember how old you were when you got your period, or about, or around?
Oh gosh, I was about 12 or 13 when I got my period.
Okay, so you're about 12 or 13 when you started your cycle. I remember when I got mine. I was a little bit younger than you, and there was a party going on at the house, y'all. And
Mm.
it was for my father's birthday, and I got the period in the bathroom when there's like 50
Oh,
people partying. And my mom came in and taught me the whole thing and did the whole thing and went out and told all my aunties, girl, she got her period. Because, it starts to be like this little celebration. I was all the way pissed. But it was a moment. Now,
mm-hmm.
the reason I asked you if you knew when you first got it is because I wanted to talk about when they became heavy. When did they
Oh,
become painful? Can you just give us a little bit of the history of your cycle?
my cycle became painful probably like when I was in high school and college. And I'm just thinking it's normal. I remember my dad, and I know we talked about my dad a lot on the podcast we did together.
We cried.
We
We
had to
cried.
cry.
She got
Yes,
a great daddy, honey. She got a great daddy,
I
y'all.
love that man. My dad is like both my parents are like my best friends, but I love my father. I'm a daddy's girl.
Amen.
So I remember my dad took me to the doctor one time and they had me answering questions. And even in that questionnaire, they were asking me about blood clots. And I knew I got like small, tiny ones, but they didn't get like larger. And it just gradually kept getting larger as I got older,
Okay.
And so that's, noticing the change in the blood clots. Like some of them be like, really teeny, small, little stringy, but when it got to adulthood and they were looking like little chicken cutlets and feeling like I was giving birth to baby squids, we had a problem.
We had a problem. Okay, let's go back to that because before we get our cycle, some women get like a clear discharge. You guys know that. That's like a
Hmm.
normal thing. And even when we menstruate, we sometimes get like a little clot. Now, like what we are not really taught is like the color of the blood from day one of your
Hmm.
cycle, like all the way through, starting off with the bright red, and it might get progressively a little darker. And sometimes some of the things that indicate that there's an underlying issue is a darker color of the blood, or like you just said,
Hmm.
blood clots. One of the things people need to know is that your period is a vital sign. It is a
It
vital
definitely,
sign, y'all. And if y'all
it
don't
is
know what that
definitely
is,
is.
it is. It's like your blood pressure. It's a vital sign. Your breath, it's a vital sign. And so is the period. It tells us what's going on this
It does.
inside of the system, right?
It
So
does.
how was it for you when the blood clots went from thin to getting progressively worse? Were you alarmed? Were you thinking, oh, I guess this is normal? What was
Well,
the deal?
for years, yes, I thought it was normal. For years, I thought it was normal going through high school, going through college. It wasn't till I didn't know anything about fibroids growing up. I didn't know anything about uterine fibroids at all. And one of the things that pains me now when I think about it is when we have those sex education, classes in school, they don't teach about reproductive health. It is scare tactics for sex education. Here's how the baby comes. You get your period. Men have sperm. This is how you have a baby. This is how you catch any of, any STIs, STDs. Here's how to prevent it. That's it. Nothing that really tells you about your body. And then it's like, okay, I don't learn in school. And then it's hush hush in the Black community. Like, you don't know. Like, the elders don't talk to you about that. It's just like you said, oh, she got her period. Ha, 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 la, la, la. Oh, yeah, it'll hurt. Here's some medicine. No real in-depth conversation. So, of course, I'm thinking, it's a period. It's painful. You go through it. It's miserable. You're miserable for 5 to 7 days. And then it starts getting longer and you're like, what's going on here?
Okay. So something that you said was very, very key. And I want to make sure that you guys understand this. What you said, Monica, which I think was so beautiful and so true, is that they teach you about sex education, but they don't teach you about reproductive education,
Right.
Reproductive health, y'all. Sex education is one thing. How to have sex, how not to have sex, the STDs you can get from it. Reproductive health, how our uterus, our ovaries, our fallopian tubes, what endometriosis, adenomyosis, fibroids, PCOS, what those things are, what they mean, we are not taught. And to your point, we don't discuss it in the home because there's something about going through something privately and then we don't realize that your little niece or your little sister or even your little daughter is going to experience something similar, possibly the same thing or something different. So what you just described about, okay, I guess this is my period and this is how it is normalizing it, right? We start to normalize it. So now when you went to the doctor, when you realized this ain't normal, this is heavy, this hurts. Now, were you the type of person that couldn't go to work because you were on your period?
So, So, I mean, when it got worse, and this was in 2013. So imagine I'm 12, 13, all the way up into my 30s, not even, telling the doctor, I'm like, yeah, I have my period. It's painful.
This is 15 plus years of a painful period that you had normalized. Y'all hear that?
And it gradually, just like I said, my cycle gradually got worse. Now, I will say, which I really wish I would know, is that, I've been on birth control because I wanted to control when I could have kids. And if the first line of protection broke or something like that, you still have your fail-safe.
Keep it real, y'all. I mean, we got the sex education. We got that part.
Right. So that part I got. So I was on birth control. And then I decided for a while to come off because I was having complications with it. Like I couldn't find something that really worked with my body. So I took myself out, told the doctor, let's stop.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a few years later, when I tell you the pain was so excruciating, I have never had kids. So feeling like I was splitting in two from the vaginal area to my anal area. And I mean, I'm going to get graphic.
Say it. I want us to be very, very real.
I wanted, And I was like, okay, that's painful. Waking up in the middle of the night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, trying to sleep before going to work, in puddle of blood, like everything soaked in. I mean, I was wearing a super plus tampon and a pad to bed, 2 pads. Okay. And we were waking up and blood soaked. And I was like, oh, that's a problem.
Now, where is that in your emotional space? And the reason that I want to bring that up, because we normalize it, right? But when we're alone and we're waking up in the middle of the night and we have soaked through the sheets and soaked through the mattress, something is there. So where in terms of our mental health and our emotional space, can you just speak a little bit from your truth about that? Because the reason that I ask that question is oftentimes we suffer in silence when we talk about infertility.
Right.
And I think we suffer in silence when we talk about our cycle as well.
We do, mentally it's like, what is wrong with me? What's going on with me? But I'm a person who, I go to my annual checkups with my gynecologist, with my physician. I have happened to had all African-American female gynecologists my entire life. Which is a plus.
Listen. I don't want to be biased, but
okay. I've always had a physician, even my primary care. So I don't know if my mother did that by design because I still have the same primary care since I was 11 years old. So I don't know if my mother did this by design, teaching me to go to people that looked like me in the in the medical field, but that is what happened. This is just how it's gone in life. My primary care and my OBGYN have always been African American. Just what it is. Uh, so I knew I was going to feel comfortable speaking to my doctor about it, but emotionally it was like, I can't take off work for just because of my cycle. I can't. I have to go to work. I only have so many sick days, and if I have a cold, if I get strep throat, if I have, anything, my allergies are acting up, I've got a migraine, whatever it is, or I have a doctor's appointment that I need to go to, I just can't keep taking off every month,
Right.
4 days.
And that's where the normalizing comes in. I saw a couple of comments that came in here. I literally didn't want to be around anyone during my cycle. I was so embarrassed. That's said by Simply Makita. I hear you. His favorite forever says it feels like fear and torment. She also says, yes, I was one of those women that normalized ultra heavy periods, all of those things. And to your point, you're like, listen, I can't every month take off of work. So how do I get around this? Well, I just deal with it.
It was a deal with it, and it was heating pad at work, warm tea, anything to try to soothe. I mean, sitting on a heating pad. And the doctor at first was giving me Motrin 800, but I can't function off that at work. That was putting me to sleep. And I mean, the pain was there. Even if I was up, I was in pain. Then it was trying to get to sleep with the pain. And pain only stopped when I was asleep, but then the pain and the cycle would wake me up in the middle of the night. I mean, heavy toll emotionally. And I already suffer from anxiety and depression, and I've been in therapy in and out. I'm currently in therapy now. But, it's hard. It's depressive. I have to go to work. I have to sit there. And I don't want to get up and socialize. And I'm a social person, okay? If anybody follows me on social media or comes to visit me, I'm a social person. I can talk to anybody. And, I'm used to getting up and taking a break from the computer because, of course, I sit in front of a computer every day for my 9 to 5. And I go talk to my colleagues when I need a break from looking at numbers all day. And I can't do that when I'm on my cycle. I can't be me. I can't be social. I like other people say, don't want to go anywhere. Don't want to be touched. Don't touch me. Don't bother me. I'm afraid to go out to events because I don't know if I'm going to have an accident.
Okay, I'm a pause right there. Regina Townsend of the Broken Brown Egg wrote something here. If you guys aren't following the Broken Brown Egg, you really, really, really better, like now. Like that is a command from your girl K Stu. Regina says she was afraid to go to the bathroom because seeing that much blood was traumatic.
It is very traumatic.
That's the point, right?
It is.
Because of everything that you just described, saying I didn't want to be touched, I don't want to go to an event, I don't want to be seen, and I don't want to talk, I don't want to be talked to, is the definition of trauma, y'all. It is something that informs our behavior to the point where we are no longer at peace inside of our own mind and inside of our own body. Right?
I mean,
that is what a traumatic experience feels like. And the reason that I just wanted to pause in that moment is because, number one, you guys put up some spirit hands for me in the comment section. You know how we do here. So put up some spirit hands. Because what I don't want to do is skip over all of those 15 plus years that every month of your life you were gaining more and more trauma from something that your body was doing, naturally doing, but that your body was doing. Because I think if we skip the fact that there's trauma involved, we don't allow ourselves to heal completely. We might be able to get a myomectomy or get a certain diet or embolization or different ways that we deal with fibroids medically. But the trauma of the experiences as you grew up to think that this is normal also needs to be addressed. So I just wanted to pause for a moment so that anybody on here that feels that way, that feels like they want to hide every time that they get their period, I want you to know, number one, don't hide unless you really feel like that's what you need to do for your own emotional health. But also, as you look at Monica here, you're not alone. As you read the comments here, you're not alone. So I just wanted to kind of like give some love in that emotional space for you.
Yeah.
So, and I see some spirit hands. You guys put some more up. So thank you for those. And Regina said, and trying to be in a relationship. Sheesh, girl.
Child, you don't, when I say don't want to be
me.
touched.
Tell me.
No, sex is not happening on my cycle. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
But
Not
even
not even before.
embarrassment.
Not before. Not. I don't even want to. Now, see, I live alone, and when I was in a relationship, I didn't even want to be at my significant other's house.
I need to go there. Okay.
I didn't,
and I think
because
we need to go there because,
like you said, the embarrassment of having an accident in his bed. Oh no,
y'all,
ma'am. Oh no, ma'am. Because I was already traumatized from having it in my bed, and it got to the point where I black sheets. I remember when I first moved into my first condo, my sister was all, "You should get white couches." I'm like, white couches where? Because if I sleep on my couch sometimes, and if this cycle happens, man, we got problems.
So what's going on now is you are actually living your life, buying clothes, buying furniture, not going to your significant other's house when you know your cycle is coming on, all so that you not get your period on any of those. Y'all understand what's happening? Is that
Yeah.
now your whole life, right, is revolving around dealing with this thing. So I want y'all to hear these stories because I know we are all doing them and it's normal. But we need to talk about these things so that we can take that feeling off of ourselves that something's wrong with us.
Yeah.
Something might be wrong, meaning we need to take care medically of what's going on. But I want people to hear what you said because it's really important that trauma of, I don't want to go over my boyfriend's house and have this thing happen is super, 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 super real. That's truth right there. That's true. Yeah, keep it real. So now let's go to the doctor. So now this thing has been going on. Mama Stu says, "Hi, Boomerang." Mom, you better say hi to Monica. You late.
Hi, Mama Stu. Hello, Mama Stu. Hello, Mama Stu. I'm glad she is here now.
Mama Stu is in the building. Mama Stu, before you got here, I said, you know what? My mother is not here yet, and I don't start the show without my mama, but she is here. Mom, we are talking to Fibroids. This is Monica Day. She works with the White Dress Project. She's a board member. She's an MC. She's a host. And she is talking about uterine fibroids as we prepare for the Night in White Gala virtually.
Yes.
That is going to be celebrating Fibroid Awareness Month, where I am your host. Monica is working behind the scenes, kicking it and doing all the things. And so you guys, I need you to go look at We Wear White right here on Instagram so you can sign up for that event. So Mama Stu says, "Hi, Monica." Regina says hi to Mama Stu. Okay, Mama Stu is in the building. Everything is well now. Yes. Everything is well.
Yes.
So I need you to go to the doctor for us for the appointment where you really spoke up about what was going on with your period.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, this really came to a head in 2013. And I distinctly remember the year because I was getting ready for a plus size pageant. It was my first national pageant. I was, practicing my talent, ballet dance, all that, but I was having pain every step of the way. My ankle was swelling, even in belly dance practice. I noticed like my knee, like coming on my cycles, my knee would hurt, my ankle would hurt. I didn't understand all of the stuff going on with my body, the extra fluid and all that stuff. So, and I was thinking, okay, maybe I want to get back on birth control. So I was thinking about getting an IUD. And I was thinking about getting Paragard because it didn't have any hormones. And I was, just trying to pay attention to things. Maybe something's going on with my body. And I went to my doctor. Her name is Dr. Melancon. I'm going to shout her out because she's amazing.
Dr. Melancon, I love it. What city are you in so everybody knows?
I live in D.C. She is in D.C. at MedStar Washington Hospital Center. She is an amazing, amazing OBGYN. And I went to her and I said, look, these are the symptoms I'm having. I described having heavy periods, waking up in the middle of the night, just soaking through the tampon and the pads. I told her I was having larger blood clots than I had ever had. Like it was feeling like I said, a little chicken cutlet. And I'm telling you, like they were big. Like these things are coming out. Like I felt like I could feel the blood clot dropping. Like I would be up trying to brush my teeth and I'm already, padded up and everything. And I could feel the blood clot dropping while I'm standing up trying to brush my teeth. And I'm just sitting there just wincing in pain. And so I gave her the description of what's going on, even the pain, feeling like I was splitting from my vaginal area to my anal area. And I was like, look, I ain't never had a baby, but I feel like I am literally going through something. And she said, well, you ain't had a baby and you ain't pregnant, so we got a problem.
Right.
She said, you cannot have the Paragard because this sounds like fibroids or maybe some endometriosis, something. She was describing all of these things. And she said, I'm not giving you any type of IUD or any type of birth control until I check everything. So she sent me to have a transvaginal sonogram. And she's quick. She's very adamant about where I have my sonograms still till this day. She's like, I need you to have it at the hospital because I don't want to report. I want to see the images myself.
Okay, pause. Tell me this doctor's name again.
Dr. Mary Melancon.
Dr. Mary Melancon, I personally want to thank you. And the reason that I paused is because a lot of women do not have the experience where they have a doctor that is that thorough, a doctor that believes their pain, that believes their stories. We as women of color deal with healthcare inequities and disparities daily. And the reason that it's, first of all, I'm so glad you were treated with such the care that you deserve by being a human being, by being a woman, by being a person with a beating heart and a pulse.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you described all of that, because you guys that are listening here, if the doctor isn't doing what she's saying, then you need to either find another doctor or demand them to do this for you. If you are having symptoms of any kind that are similar or different, or if something's wrong, something's wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you explained and continue. I want you to continue all of the steps that were taken. She wanted the images to be done at a hospital because she wanted to see them, you know, and all those kinds of things. This is the care that we all unanimously deserve all the time. So
this is the truth.
Notes. So take notes, because you got it. And not a lot of us get it. And that's why we do this on Warrior Wednesdays. That's why we do it at the White Dress Project. So continue. So she said, no, go get the images. I want to see them. And then what?
And then a few days later, I didn't even have to call her. She's adamant about calling me back. This is like,
write it down, y'all.
I'm telling you, if you're hearing me and you have not had this type of care, like Clay said, please challenge your doctors. Go get a second opinion. And like I said, I feel so blessed to have her as a physician and in my corner to make sure that I am having the best care ever. And it hurts because it's like I told you before, like I have survivor's guilt because I have such a triumphant story, but I do have to celebrate my doctor and the fact that I got the help that I needed, and I can speak about it to other women.
And I'm just going to stop you for 2 seconds because that's real. But what you're doing, I have a little bit of survivor's guilt too, right? Because I've never tried to get pregnant, but I froze my eggs, and I have 29 hopes in the freezer. And yet I speak here on this platform. So I have a little bit of survivor's guilt in that. But what we're doing with that momentum is we're speaking to the community that we are a part of, because we know it's not like this everywhere.
It's
right?
not.
And we get it. And we also know that we can walk into another doctor's office and not get the care that your doctor gave you. So it's not about having guilt. It's about taking the experience, my experience of freezing eggs and what I learned about fertility and reproductive health and what I wasn't taught, and your experience with having a doctor that, honey, is thorough and demands answers and calls you, and bringing that momentum into this space. So it's not guilt, because you are an advocate. You are knowing what we all deserve. So it's so wonderful that you're telling this story. So let's go back to your amazing doctor, and you get the images. And what did she say?
She called me. She said, you have a fibroid. And I mean, I had never heard of it. Like I said, never knew anything about uterine fibroids. She, gave me the size, and I'm sorry, I cannot remember the exact size, but I know when she took it out, she said it's about this big, and it was submucosal. I do know that was what she said. She said,
explain to them what the submucosal is.
So submucosal it was like in the lining. So in the uterine line. So she's
this is your womb, y'all. The submucosal is inside of here. Okay,
Yeah.
it's inside of here.
So sometimes what she explained, sometimes it's not just the size of a fibroid, because fibroids are all different for people of where they are in the uterine area, how large they are, how small they are. It's not always about the size. It can be location that's
Say it.
causing you the issue. It can be the location of where the fibroid is what's causing your issues.
Absolutely. That's very, very important for you guys to hear, because what you don't want to do is have little tiny fibroids and think, I'm okay. I can wait that out. I can monitor. What you're saying is very, very important, because your fibroids can be outside of the uterine lining. They can be inside of the uterine lining, and the location and where they are located can be causing heavier bleeding, can be causing a problem. It also can cause infertility issues. It can cause
Right.
the baby can't grow in the womb there. So there's all of these different things that we need to know. So it's very important. So she saw the fibroid, and its location was obviously not something that was good. So what was her recommendation from that point?
When do you want to get it out?
I love her.
She said, it's your choice, but when do you want this out? I
Say
said,
that
as soon
again.
as
She said, it's your choice.
it's your choice, but when do you want it out? Like she said, if I wanted to leave it alone, I could. She said, but I'm telling you, when do you want to get it out? And I said, as soon as possible.
Look, yeah, you don't play with Monica Day, okay?
No, ma'am.
Because you were living a life where you knew see, this is what I want to say about fibroids, and I personally haven't experienced them, but I have family members that have experienced them, and I want to touch on that too when we talk about the new diagnosis that you have. Is that it's your quality of life. You deserve a good quality of life. Running around changing sheets, being in pain, not wanting to go over to your friend's house or this is that every single month when you get your period is not the high quality of life that you deserve. So whether you choose to get a myomectomy, or whether you choose another route, or whether you choose to leave it alone, no judgment here on Warrior Wednesdays, no judgment. But I think one of the things we don't talk about when it talks about fibroids is not just how it impacts fertility, but the quality of your life.
Yeah.
And so my guess is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that one of the reasons that you said take it out is because you wanted a better quality of life.
I had things to do. Like I said, I was preparing for a pageant. My ankle was swelling. And I'm supposed to be belly dancing, okay? And I don't just do no regular belly dance, okay? Okay. I wasn't doing no regular, no. I did fusion hip hop belly dance at this pageant. I had things to do. I have a life to live.
Yes, you have a life to live.
Right. At the time, I didn't have kids. And we will get to the kids to having children part.
Yes.
But I mean, I still don't have kids. But at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, while I don't have kids, let me live this life. Because no matter what, when and if I have children, I need to be living life so they can know mama can live life, or my nieces can know auntie can live life, godchildren know, even the one that's on its way, I godmama can live life.
I need everybody in the comments to say, I have things to do. Y'all already know that's going to be the topic of the caption when we post this. I have things to do. That should be your mantra. We're going to put that into the Night in White event for July 15th. I have things to do. You have a whole life to live. Yes. I love it. So then you and your doctor came up with a game plan of when to take it out. So tell me, was it a myomectomy that was done?
It was a myomectomy that was done. And she also did a diagnostic for endometriosis. She wanted to make sure she was thorough with everything. She said, I want to make sure, honey, when I tell you Dr. Mary Melancon does not play with her patients, she does not play.
I mean, I don't know how to put it down here, y'all, to put her name. Doctor, we're going to put it after the live, but I'm obsessed with this doctor to the point where does she have Instagram? Because she might have.
I do not know. I will have to ask her when I go see her on Friday, because with the new diagnosis.
The new diagnosis, you're going back.
I have to go back.
You have to. So she wanted to continue to do some testing before she went in.
Well, no, this was when we did the myomectomy, and she looked to see if there was any endometrial tissue so that she could burn it. But she's like, I'm looking for everything. You're doing everything in one fell swoop.
Okay, all right. So
she was thorough in this procedure.
Okay, I'm obsessed with her. So just so everybody knows, Endometriosis is when the endometrium lining that's supposed to be inside of the womb kind of can grow on the outside of the womb. And it's really a condition, it's painful, and it really can't be diagnosed without an exploratory surgery, meaning you have to actually open a woman up to actually diagnose it and see these pockets of blood that sometimes they call them chocolate blood. We've learned that here, that might be around the uterus. So what she did, you guys, this is how thorough her doctor is. What your doctor did is, because she was already going in, she said, let me make sure there's nothing else going on, because like I said, endometriosis can only be diagnosed through surgery. You were already getting a surgery. So she wanted to make sure before we close you up, if there's anything else that needs her attention, I love her. I love her.
Amazing. I will not leave her. She's not allowed to leave me.
She is not allowed. She is not allowed. Okay, so now we wake up. She tells you, got it out, right?
Yeah, she even showed my mom a picture and said, my mom said when she came to, to tell him that I was in recovery and I was okay, she showed her a picture. She said, you see that right there? That's not supposed to be there. And I got it. That's what my mother told me after the surgery.
Wow. So now, how did your recovery go, and how did your cycle change when the fibroid was out?
Well, recovery, I thought I would, she did it, I think, surgery was on like a Friday. I'm thinking I could go back to work by Monday or Tuesday. No, ma'am, I was out of work for a week. I was on bed rest. I'm over there waddling and everything. What is going on here? But recovery time was, for me to even be back at work, was probably about a week. Going back to belly dancing, I had to wait about a month.
Okay. And now, was there only one fibroid? Because oftentimes what happens is they'll see one on the scan or two or three, and they go in and there's a lot more.
It was one little sucker causing me pain, okay?
One little sucker.
One little, and I'm going to call it a sucker because it was not my friend, and right. It had to go. That little sucker was causing me all type of hell, and I don't know where it came from, but it had to go back from whence it came.
But this is something that's really interesting to bring up, because whether you have one fibroid or whether you have multiple fibroids, you know what I mean? They can cause the same amount of problems. And so you getting that taken care of, like I said, you guys, I don't judge your choices or how you want to, whether you want a surgery or not. But what I do think that this is very educational for us to hear is that even one fibroid could give you the experiences that you had for 15 plus years. And we do know, you guys, medically, that fibroids return, they can come back. And
so that was the part.
Tell us that.
Can you still hear me?
I can, yes. It went out for a second, but you're back.
Because you know what? We must have talked her up. That was her call, and I have to give her a call back or she'll leave me a message. Told you she don't play with me.
No, that ain't nothing but God. We do faith here on Warrior Wednesdays. We do faith. That ain't nothing but the Lord. She's leaving you a message, because then we can get into the next thing. You see how this is, honey? Her doctor is calling her while she over here advocating. No survivor's guilt, my love. No survivor's guilt. You're over here teaching us, preaching to us, helping us, and getting a doctor's call at the same time. Amen. You guys put some amens in this comment section, because I'm all the way here for this doctor that we talked her all the way up. I love the blessing.
And it's funny because I'm like, oh, Dr. Melancon, but I can't talk to you right now. So I will have to call her after. And she knows the work that I do with the White Dress Project, because she knows I was really traumatized, like really hearing that I had the fibroid, because it was the talk about infertility. Where did this come from? How did this happen? How can I prevent this? And when she says, well, you really can't necessarily prevent it because this can come back.
Yes. And what we know is that sometimes they can come back 5 years. So we have to be mindful of knowing. It happened to my cousin where literally 5 years to the day of her first myomectomy surgery, it was unfortunate that she had to do it again. So it can come back in 5 years. Yeah.
Right. And so one of the things that we discussed is she said, it can happen again. And if it keeps coming back in that same area, you might have some infertility issues, because I've got to get it out of that lining where, the submucosa baby might want to attach. And it was devastating, because the relationship that I said I was in was ending. And I thought part of it, for years, I thought part of it was ending because, I told him about the diagnosis, and that it could cause infertility. I knew he wanted a child.
Okay,
And
we're going to pause right there.
yeah.
I need everybody to put prayer hands in the comment section. One of the things that I want to say to that is, number one, I completely, fully understand the experience of telling somebody my truth and then finding that my truth helps them to the door. And the reason that I use the word help is because anybody that can leave your life, let them go.
Yeah.
They weren't meant to stay. You ain't got to beg, plead, find reasons to hold on to anything that's not attached to your destiny.
Yeah.
The right person is going to be holding your hand through any and all diagnosis and says the devil is a liar.
Yeah.
Baby, let's put our gloves on and let's fight.
Oh.
So I'm grateful in the now that this diagnosis not only got a fibroid out, but got somebody out of your romantic space
Yeah.
that God didn't say is your forever thing.
Yeah, but mentally it did not help at the time
Of
because
course.
I'm in my 30s, my early to mid 30s at the time.
Of course.
Wanting to be with this person, marry this person, have a child with this person, have a life with this person. And it made me scared, like, oh my gosh, is somebody not going to want me because this may cause an issue?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And for years, I didn't know how bad it gave me the depression of that, because I would say, oh, maybe I don't want kids yet, because of course, like I said, I have things to do. I do things,
Mm-hmm.
and I went back and forth with that, but I did know deep down inside, I love kids. Like I said, I'm a godmother. I have two now. I have one on the way, which I'm super excited about him. I have two beautiful, beautiful nieces. I mean, the most beautiful girls you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, sitting there crying because I really do love kids.
Let it out. I get it.
And I've always wanted to be a mother, always wanted to have that little one. My godson, the oldest one, he was even to the point where he couldn't wait to be a big god brother, because he's like, I can't wait to play basketball. I remember when my sister was pregnant with my youngest niece, he put his hand on her stomach and said, you're going to have girls. And he put his hand on my stomach one day and said, you're going to have boys. And I still have yet to have any kids. But just to think that at that time, that's where I was in that space.
But do you hear how God is? I don't want to negate the time, right? Because there's always a season for tears. And there's extra pain when you tell somebody your truth and it's a health diagnosis and they leave the relationship, because what that feels like is abandonment.
I really did. And then the guy, I knew the guy got married and had a kid, and I was just like, wow. Since then he's apologized and said that wasn't the reason, but in my head at that time, you can't tell me.
And of course, and I'm
that
glad that I get it. And you had every right to say, you can't tell me that wasn't the reason, because abandonment, it's another form of trauma, right? And so your pain is beyond valid, beyond real, and completely understandable. It's one thing on top of another. But what I highlight, especially because there's some time has passed, right? So what I highlight in that moment, there's something that my sister says to me. For those that don't know, Niecy Nash is my sister. She's been on Warrior Wednesdays as well with her own fertility miracles and things. But one of the things she always says is God gives you a preview. And so when you said that it was a little nephew, you said?
My godson put hand on a woman's belly and said, you're going to have girls, and put his hand on your belly and said, you're going to have boys, in the midst of your pain. Because we can't see it when we're inside of the pain. But God is so kind that he'll give us something
that will be a memory for us to hold on to when we're on the other side of the thing. That he spoke a word into your womb, a little baby, your godson. Think about even the terminology. Your God, your God son. You were going to have boys in the midst of this experience. I hear that as a preview. I hear that as a God son telling you what you need to know.
Yeah. So it was traumatizing to hear her tell me, that there could be infertility issues, knowing that I always wanted to be a mother. And so, I dealt with it and, said to myself, when God deems it necessary, and hated when people would say, when are you going to have babies? Like I said, I have my knees when people said, when are you going to have a child? And so I got to the point where I said, when God deems it necessary. And when my grandmother said it best, when it was so funny, God rest her soul, my mother's mom, we were at her birthday party one year, and my cousin walked in with one of her newborns at the time, and my grandmother looked up at her and said, whose baby is that? And she said, mine. And my grandmother reached over to me and she said, baby, you don't have to worry about having them. Your cousins are doing it for you. You'll be okay. I mean, she did. And I guess that was her way of comforting me. Like, don't worry about what people say.
Yeah.
These people are having enough babies. You will be okay.
You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine.
She said, you're going to be fine.
The thing about God is he's faithful.
Yeah. So,
faithful.
That helps. It helps
to
have and my grandmother didn't know what was going on with me. She was just a godly woman, and she must have just known, like, my grandbaby need to hear something.
Yeah. And that's the thing about faith. That's the thing about our spirituality. And that's why, because God will speak through people. He will tell you what you needed to know. But I'm still, I'm holding on to the God's son. And
like I said, I almost let go of it this year because of the new diagnosis and what I thought may happen. So even after the fibroid, immediately after, I will say my next cycle was a lot different. It was a bit lighter. This swelling that was happening on my right ankle, because that's where it was on the right side. That's where the fibroid was. The swelling that was going on stopped. I wasn't getting the swelling anymore.
This is immediately after.
Next cycle, I felt a total difference.
It was like night and day.
It was like night and day.
And did that continue?
It continued for a while. It did. So we waited a year to see if anything else happened before I got back on birth control. She said, well, let's give it a year. Let's see what happens. If you have anything else, come back, or any other symptoms, before I even try to give you any type of birth control. So we waited a year, didn't have any problems. I was able to get the Paragard IUD.
Okay.
Maybe after, I want to say a year after having that, I started having the heavier cycles again. She did tell me it could have been because of the Paragard, but she needed to check again because I've already had a fibroid.
Right.
I got to check again. Because she wanted to make sure that there was nothing else going on. Like I said, she's very thorough.
Yes.
So I can say, if not every year, maybe every other year, as I had the Paragard IUD for about 5 years. And she checked. Anytime I said I had a little symptom here, anything resembling a symptom of a fibroid, she checked.
She was on it.
Yes. Now, last year, before the shutdown, it got really bad again. I was starting to have those, got really bad again. I was starting to have those same symptoms with the large blood clots. And like I said, the whole brushing, like getting ready for work and having to change my padding again. Being on Motrin 800, trying to go to work on that, anything. So I was really scared. I was. Of course. I thought another fibroid came back. And I went to her February of 2020. And she called me the next day because she did blood work, and she gave me an order to get another transvaginal sonogram. And if y'all
Okay.
don't know, I know I've said that several times. For anyone who may not know, I know a lot of people on here may know. So the transvaginal sonogram is when you have to drink that 32 ounces of water. They're going to do the sonogram on top of the uterus, and then they'll let you go to the bathroom and relieve yourself, and then they go in with the probes. So if anyone hasn't had a transvaginal sonogram, that's what it is.
That's what it is, y'all.
So she said, she did blood work and that shit. I was telling her I was really fatigued. Like I couldn't stay up at work. This was really bad. So she checked everything. She checked my hemoglobin, vitamin D, all of that. Called me the next day and said, ma'am, the first thing you need to do before you even try to go get this sonogram is you need to start taking iron. Your iron is super low. She said, your vitamin D is too low for my liking. You need to be on this stuff like yesterday. I went immediately to the vitamin store and got my vitamins and started taking them immediately. Because of COVID, I was not able to get this sonogram until June of 2020. So I went in last June, got the sonogram, called back, new diagnosis.
I know, girl. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it.
New diagnosis, you guys. Adenomyosis. Had no clue what it was either. So this is back to why don't we have this reproductive health education?
We had no clue what that is. So, and let's explain what adenomyosis is, or some people pronounce it adenomyosis.
Adenomyosis.
Yeah. Adenomyosis, and it is a cousin of endometriosis. Do you want to explain it, or do you want me to?
So instead of it growing, the lining growing on the outside, it's growing into.
So what is happening is the endometrium lining is actually growing in the wall itself. It's growing in the muscle wall of the uterus. So do you guys understand that the endometrium lining that's supposed to, in the reproductive health, be in the inside of the womb? Endometriosis means it's growing outside here and kind of around here. Adenomyosis, it's growing inside of the uterine muscle wall.
And it's painful. But it can present. Now, the reason they don't diagnose it all the time well is because it presents as fibroid symptoms.
Right.
So for me, it being a fibroid patient, I'm thinking, oh, crap, here we go again.
Of course.
Yeah.
And it might have been the whole time. I'm assuming you and your doctor have spoken about this, that the fibroid and even where it was placed, but the whole time adenomyosis was also part of the issue.
Right? Yeah. So this is the new diagnosis since last year. So what she did was she said, now, look, most of the time they tell you the way to treat this is a hysterectomy, or we can give you a different IUD, which is Mirena, and that to treat the symptoms. It won't cure it, but it'll at least treat the symptoms so you're not suffering, and it preserves your uterus. She is against hysterectomies. She does not like to do. She said, you got to be dang on dying on the deathbed for me to try this. She does not do it.
I'm with her.
She does not like to do hysterectomies at all. So she gave me the Mirena. Well, I've had some complications and some abnormal bleeding with the Mirena.
Okay.
Scared the crap out of me. So
of course.
It happened more than once. The second time it happened, her nurses were like, you're coming in today. Went in there that day. I told her exactly what happened. She said, well, that's not normal. We've got a problem. So she took the speculum in. She did her exam. She said, well, the strings are where they need to be. I need to know what's going on with the arms, and I need to know where this bleeding is coming from before we do anything else. But before I left that office, she came up with a plan. She said, when we get the sonogram, either one of a few things can happen. Either I'm going to have to change your birth control to continue to treat the symptoms, or we're going to have to do a UAE.
Now explain to everybody what a UAE is.
So that's the uterine artery embolization, and that is when she is going to have to, they put little pellets in to cut off that blood flow. And
to cut off the blood supply.
Blood supply, yes. So that's when we talked about, there's a possibility that you can do that, and that it may cause you some infertility. And I'm like, had to sucked it up. And I said, ma'am, my 40th birthday is next month, and I have thought about this since I had the fibroid. And if this is the path that God has put me on, then I have to trust it. What hurt the most is what we have discussed already, but I will let them know. what hurt the most is having to say that to my parents, that that
Mm-hmm.
was maybe a possibility. And I was preparing myself to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, I have two beautiful nieces, godchildren, godson on the way. Like, I'm going to keep saying that because I'm so excited about this godson.
And I
But,
love it. And I love it. Yes.
and I'm here with his mama now. Like, he should be asleep, but in her tummy. But I'm going to go play with him later and feel his little legs kicking. But, you know, I was preparing myself to be okay. And I was like, you know, I still have, like I said, I got things to do. I still have life to live. I have a
And you
job. I
know
have my
what?
podcast.
I want to go back to that point, but also I want the reason that I pause is because, well, two things. One, the diagnosis and the treatment is a possibility
Mm-hmm.
that it can cause infertility, which means it's a possibility that it won't. Okay, so
Right.
I want to say that.
Right.
The other thing that I want to bring out is that you were saying I was preparing myself to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. I completely get it. But I also want to talk about the fact that it's okay, y'all, to not be okay.
It is, and it's
And
funny you say that because the friend of mine, the guy that I was, you know, had told all of this about this, he actually said that to me when he was kind of consoling me. One of my male friends, when he was consoling me through it, he was like, you know, it's okay not to know what to do. You know, it's okay not to be okay.
okay, and I want to touch on that too. And the reason that I say that in terms of it being a male friend is because sometimes we as women, and I can speak for myself as being a Black woman, is that we give ourselves this platform of strength where we have to rise above every occasion. We have to rise above every diagnosis that is literally breaking our heart. We have to rise above every, medical procedure and everything that's going on that is chipping away at our dreams as we speak. We have to rise above the fact that we're getting older and we're still unmarried and childless. No, we don't. It is okay to not be okay. And the reason that I brought up that it was a male friend is that sometimes I think because women do this to themselves, they inadvertently do it to other women. To say, girl,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Just be strong. Just, you got this, you got this. And you do. And you know that. But it's also okay as women to break.
It
It's
is.
also okay to say, my heart is breaking. My fertility as I knew it is slipping out of my hands. It's slipping out of my control and I feel helpless.
I
And it's
did.
okay to not have to prepare yourself. And I just want to say this to everybody. This is my personal take on it, but it's okay to not have to prepare yourself to be okay. Because once you funnel through those emotions and you feel it for real, you can hear God more clearly. That's how I feel. Because the
Yeah.
wall is down between me and Him. I'm not okay, God. I'm not even going to pretend to be. I'm scared.
Yeah.
And now when He talks to me, I know the step to make moving forward. So I understand exactly what you were saying. And I also wanted to just talk about that a little bit because of the root of why we say that to ourselves. And that
Mm-hmm.
wherever you are in that experience, I'm making sure I'm okay or I'm not okay is all valid, is all real. And I just wanted to say that part. So now I want to go back to what the doctor said to you about, okay, you might have to get this procedure, the
Mm-hmm.
AUI,
Mm-hmm.
and what happened?
Well, I went to get the next sonogram eventually. You know, I had to get another sonogram done. And I had the sonogram last Friday.
Last Friday, y'all.
Last Friday. She called me, was it Monday morning? Monday or Tuesday morning. And I said, it was early in the morning. It was like 8 o'clock. I was like, hey, Dr. Melancon, like this early, what's up? I'm scared because I'm like, this early and this quick, something wrong. So
Right.
I'm scared. I'm like, ma'am, she said, it's early? I said, yes. She said, well, I got your results back. I said, okay, what's going on? You know, because I got to hear her out. And she said, well, I think I have good news. It looks like one of the arms of your IUD is pressing into your uterine lining. We are going to take your IUD out and go with a different IUD that has similar effects as the Mirena, but is a different size. And so I did ask her, was it the condition that was possibly causing the arm to do that? And she said, no, this can happen. I don't think that's the issue. I just think
Okay.
this one didn't set up right in your uterus, which can
Got it.
happen.
Which can
She,
happen.
she said, your strings were okay. It's just this one arm. So she said, we're taking this slow. We are going to try another IUD because we still need to treat the symptoms.
Right.
And she was like, so we'll start off slow. If this IUD works, we're going to leave you alone. If it doesn't, then we'll take the next step. But she was like, we're not going to talk next steps until we figure out what can work for your symptoms.
She is giving me life. Y'all put the prayer hands up in the chat because because first of all, this just happened, but also the fact that she doesn't even want to go to another place because we're going to stay right here in this present and see what the deal really is. I am absolutely obsessed with her. I want to say that for you, I'm sending you all the prayer hands and all the love and all of the light because you got some good news in the midst of this. You got some, and we need to celebrate our victories just as hard as we cry our tears. I mean, that is the way it is. We have to celebrate our victories just as hard as we cry our tears. So as you are still on this journey, a new IUD is to come. Mm-hmm. And we're so grateful that you're willing and able to share your truth, from fibroids to adenomyosis, and just know you are now part of the warrior community. We don't play in these warrior comment streets, as you can see. Okay? We don't play in these streets, and these are some of the most dynamic and amazing advocates and women and men that have come to this platform to be transparent and to heal and to help everybody along the way. So welcome, warrior, because you are absolutely in the warrior building now. So I want to quickly
look, my OBGYN needs to be in the warrior building.
Listen, I'm not playing. We got to get her in here because I want to make sure that I interview her. I will ask show her this live.
I will.
Doctor, Doctor, would you come to Warrior Wednesdays? Because I wonder, does she even know Dr. Cindy M. Duke? We have Dr. Cindy M. Duke, y'all, from the Nevada Fertility Institute. She comes here about like once every month or every other month due to her schedule to answer all of our questions. But I would love for your doctor to come on because I'm very picky about doctors. Where's Regina Townsend? I know she in here. We don't play with doctors, okay?
Yeah.
And if anybody hasn't seen Regina's Broken Brown Egg, her episode talking about building her team of doctors, you know what I mean? It really is an empowering episode to watch. Go to warrior-wednesdays.com, warrior-wednesdays with an S.com, and look at this episode when it's uploaded, but also look at Regina Townsend's about how to be your own health advocate for the right doctor. And your doctor sounds phenomenal. And it's good to hear these stories because it means that the doctors that we need are out there, y'all. They're out there. And I always tell people, find a doctor that speaks into your listening, that speaks into your life. And she is taking care of you. She definitely is care of you. Are in good hands.
I feel, like I said, I feel like I'm in good hands. She's very thorough. And one of the things we talked about in my last visit, and I said, I thanked her so much. I said, thank you for, doing this and for talking to me and having me be so comfortable to talk to you. And she said, and I said, I just love the fact that I can talk to an African-American physician about this. And she said, she said, the conversations we should have been having in the past are the conversations we're having now about people having doctors and physicians that look like them in the rooms and having the type of conversations that need to be had.
Having those conversations like this and having them within our families. Because as you said, someone in your family had a hysterectomy and was diagnosed with adenomyosis, correct? And you knew that they had a hysterectomy, but didn't know that was the diagnosis.
Okay, yes. So even going back to me having those painful cycles. So my auntie Gloria, shout out to her because she's
shout out Auntie Gloria.
So Auntie Gloria, I always knew that she had a hysterectomy after she had my two cousins, that are my two older cousins. And for years, all my life, till this past summer, didn't know why. she had this hysterectomy. And I remember when I would have the bad cycles, I remember one time very distinctly, I was home and I wasn't feeling good. And she said, "What's wrong?" I said, "My cramps are bad. I can't go to school today." She said, "Oh, you just need a little pick-me-up. I'll be right over." This woman came over with a shot of vodka and some orange juice and 2 Tylenol and said, "Take this and call me in the morning," basically. Okay? So, like, in high school, she could have started telling me something, but I guess she didn't feel comfortable talking about everything. I knew, you know, there were women in my family who had like, cysts and everything, but nothing, like I said, about uterine fibroids or
But
like, I really didn't know about any of these reproductive health issues. And then I'm talking to her at my mom's birthday over the summer and telling her my new diagnosis. And she's like, "Oh, baby, that's what I had. That's why I had a hysterectomy." Woman, my whole life.
okay, but okay, Auntie Gloria, we love you and we get it and we understand. But y'all, this is where we break the cycle, right? This
Right.
is where, because you, like you said, you have godchildren. Everybody on here got a niece, a nephew, a godchild, or somebody in the neighborhood. This is where we break the cycle, is that we say these things out loud now. We don't wait until it's like, "Oh yeah, I had that." Because the reality is, until we normalize all of the different underlying conditions that go on in reproductive health, then we will not know until we're over the thing. And then we find out Auntie so-and-so got it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to break the cycle of keeping quiet. I don't even think it's conscious, really. It's kind of like something happens and you move on. But no, we can't move on. When you see the little girls, is Sharice Sims on here? I want you to know also. I don't know if Sharice is still on here or not, but I want you to know that I saw Sharice on here when we talk about doctors, but also she said she's an employer and she has staff and stuff. And she said, it's so good to hear your story because it makes her more conscious of what people that she has employed, what they might be going through month to month. So talking
That's
about,
touching to hear it.
isn't that great that you said, and I saw the comment, Sharice, I don't know if you're still on, she got like 4 or 5 daughters. There she is. She says, "I'm here." I'm going to do a live with her at some point. We're going to talk about some stuff. But Sharice, I saw the comment that you made, and I thought that that was amazing. She's an amazing mom. How many daughters, Sharice? Put up the number. I think it's 5. It's either 5 or 4. And she was in the audience for a clubhouse I did with Black Love from OWN
Mm-hmm.
about fertility. And she sent me a DM. And so she told me, you know, as a mother, I learned things to look out for my 5. I see the number. Thank you, Sharice. For my 5 daughters, of all of these conditions and all of these things and these symptoms that I can be looking for that we might not have talked about before. So we don't want to shame moms or anything like that. This information helps people be aware. And another comment she made was that, wow, I didn't think about what my employees might be going through month to month. And now this helps her understand that. So this is why these conversations are great. And Sharice, this is why you're great, because your perspective of hearing a story like that and going, how can I implement that into making somebody else's life better, is what's so amazing about you. So thank you for putting that down, Sharice, because that's super awesome. April Nixon, I don't know if you, before I let you go, Monica, we've been on for like an hour and 8 minutes, and I know we're going to talk about night in life. I don't know, April, can you request to come in? Did you comb your hair? April said she commented here that she had 47 fibroids.
Oh my gosh.
And I just want to at least say hello. If you can request to come in, go out, or maybe let me see if I can do it. Hold on a second. Can I get you in here, April? Let me see. Look, girl, if your hair ain't done, I sent the request. I love you too, Sharice. If your hair isn't done, or you're driving, don't come in. I get it. Wait, there you are. Hey! How are you, Miss April Nixon?
Hi,
Hello.
sweetheart. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Hear
can.
you. I
just happened to log. I'm busy. I surprised my daughter. I'm in New York. I flew in Sunday, but I just happened to log. I was like, let me see what's happening on Instagram. And I was like, oh, Kelly is going live. I was like, let me click on. And then I was like, oh, look at this topic. And then I was like, well, I had 4. I went in for 4, but they removed 47. You were like, girl, you got to go live. I told my daughter, I was like, I got to get myself together. April,
I want everybody to know. Meet
Monica. Monica, meet April Nixon.
Hi,
Miss
April.
Monica, your story has been moving the hell out of me, sister. Like I
Thank you.
totally relate to everything you sisters have been talking about. It's a trip because I went in last October. I hate to just dive right in, but let me
I
just
love
No,
tell
that
you.
you
honey,
did because
dive right in
that's
because
why I said,
your
April, comb
story
your
might be.
hair, because I wanted to give you some time to
Yeah.
get ready. But can you tell us briefly a little bit about what? First of all, thank you for jumping on, you guys.
Yeah,
This is totally impromptu. But as
yeah.
we lead into July, which is Fibroid Awareness Month, having these kind of stories are amazing. And April, I'll probably bring you back on. But can you briefly just give us a little bit? Because 47, girl, give us a little bit
Yeah.
of that
Yeah,
story.
so okay, so I moved to LA 2 years ago, and like, I'm a New York girl, so I'm, back home, but like I literally had, for like 5 or 6 years, I started getting, I'm a dancer, so that's what Kelly, so I'm a dancer first, like a ballerina, like professional Broadway dancer, like
Yeah.
I'm a dancer. So I've always had a very slim physique, but I'm muscular as well. So all of a sudden, like maybe 6 years ago, right before I had my back surgery, I noticed the right side of my lower abdomen started protruding. And I was like, what the hell is
Oh.
this? I had a flat stomach, even though I have a 27-year-old sitting away from me. I'm in good condition, right? Physically. So I'm like, what is this? Okay, I have this thing sticking out of the right side of my stomach. And then, it started getting harder and harder. And then I noticed a smaller one on the left. And I was like, what the hell is this? Like maybe I'm just fat. Maybe I'm just eating. Let me just, cut it out. Anyway, I go to the GYN here. She's like, yeah, you have the beginnings of fibroids. The one on the right is a little bit bigger. I'm like, what the hell is a fibroid? My mother, like you said, my mother never told me nothing about no fibroid ever in my life. Never heard of it. Didn't know what the hell it was. I mean, maybe I'd heard the word, but I just, I didn't know. It didn't
Didn't
apply to
know.
me. It didn't apply to me. So why would I know unless my mom sat me down and said, listen, this is what I'm going through, which we'll get to that in a second. So fast forward to, I'm just going to jump a lot of stuff. So fast forward to me moving to LA. Over years, I was having heavy bleeding, the clots. I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. I was like, why is and I started my period when I was 12. And yes, and I bled for 7 days since the day I started my period. My mom bled for 7 days. So she did share that, that is hereditary. Yes, she bleeds for 7. And my daughter, she bleeds for 7 days. So just so we're clear, it is hereditary. So, okay, so I expected that. So that was normal. But my bleeding, there were times over the years where I would bleed for months at a time, like just bleeding. And I'm anemic too, so it made it worse. So I would be lightheaded and, I couldn't fucking sleep. I had headaches. I was, the mood swings were awful. And it, on top of bleeding for 7 days, like Niagara Falls is how I would refer to my period. Oh, it's Niagara Fall time. 7 days, full out. The clots kept getting thicker. And then it was just, okay, I get to LA. I find this doctor. Her name is Dr. Natalie Wynn. She's an Asian woman. She's a woman of color. And I thought, okay, well, let me go to her because I couldn't find any black female GYNs, which is what I was searching for. Because I've never had a diagnosis where the doctor said, you need to come in and have them removed. I go see her. She's like, well, I'm going to send you for the sonograms. I'm like, great. This was last year, right? Right in the middle of the pandemic. And she's like, I'm going to send you for a sonogram so I can get a look because I see the protrusion, and like if you're overweight, people who are overweight and they do the gastric bypass or they do, surgery to remove a lot of the weight, they still have the dead skin. And so, she was like, it's protruding enough on the right side that, if you decide to remove it, you're probably going to have skin hanging over it. How devastating is that as a dancer? I wear nothing sometimes. So it's like, okay. She's like, it could be fixed. Great. So I'm thinking about this in my head, yes, it's something psychological. And so she sends me for my sonogram. I get the sonogram and comes back. She's like, you have 4. You have the one that's protruding. I see it. It's pretty good, and it's outside of the lining, which is great. You have 2 on the left. So you have the huge one, which is the one protruding out the right. And there's one that's connected to it that sits right behind it. So that's what's pushing it out because it's outside of the lining. And then you have 2 on the left, which is the small protrusion, but they're in the lining. So both of them are attached, but they're inside the lining, if that makes sense. So there's 2 of them and they're sticking out, but they're connected on the inside of the lining. You understand?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm like, okay, great. She's like, they're going to keep getting bigger. And I'm like, is it the food I'm eating? Because I've tried everything. I'm sorry, guys. I'm in Brooklyn. This is what happened.
It's okay. Well, we know
Welcome.
that estrogen, you guys, feeds fibroids.
Right.
So estrogen
Right.
feeds
Right.
fibroids. Mm-hmm.
Right. Thank you, Kelly. So I'm like, okay, great. She's like, so, you can opt to have the surgery. They may come back. They may not. You can wait. We can put you on this, and that. We can put you on a birth. We have to take you off birth control because birth control, like you said, has estrogen and it causes them to get bigger. I'm sorry, somebody just started.
It's okay. I used to live in Brooklyn, y'all.
Look, I'm vibing while you're talking.
At least it's a good song. At least it's a good song.
That's my old
Okay.
stomping ground. Yeah.
Okay, so she's like, she gave me the options as far as surgery, and that they may come back, they may not come back. Most of her patients, they don't come back. But she's had a few cases where they have come back. I'm like, okay, you know what? We're in the middle of the pandemic. There's no theater going on. Ain't no TV happening. I got time to get this done. So let's do it. So she scheduled me for August of 2020. I went in and I said, how long am I supposed to be in the hospital? She's like, you're usually there for 2 days, no more. And you can usually go home after the first day, but if there's complications, no more than 2 days. I wake up the next day after surgery. What was supposed to be a 3 to 4 hour surgery turned out to be a 9.5 hour surgery. I woke up. Exactly. I woke up and I had a C-section. So let me just start with that. So she was able to go in through there, but they had to cut like this and like this. And so they cut twice vertical and then twice horizontal. They reopened my vertical from my C-section, but they had so they reopened that. But when they got inside of my body, she had to make 2 incisions, vertical, and 2 what is it, lateral? What am I saying? Horizontal. Excuse me, horizontal and vertical. And so she said once she got in there, she's like, I was her worst case ever. She said she never heard of anyone having 47. I have 47 fibroids. They were all over the place. And Kelly, what I'll do is if you connect with me afterwards, because I actually do not have your number anymore, I'll send you pictures of, she took pictures of everything. So I have pictures of all of them lined up together. And the one that, they're fucking nasty. I was just like, look at all this. Oh my God, I just cussed. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. We do God here. We do God here. Every now and then I might.
I'm a God girl. I'm a Christian, but I couldn't believe what was in my body.
Listen, April 47. I think you can. You're allowed to say a cuss word. You had 47 fibroids removed.
Yeah.
You get the permission to do the F-bomb. But listen, let me tell you something. First and foremost, God, you're alive.
Amen. Amen. Oh my God. You don't even know.
For those that don't know, fibroids that causes extra bleeding and the blood clots. I know women that have had blood transfusions. We've had Lynn Wachter on here, Don Terra on here, Shaquita Lockley from Eggs Over Easy film that have had dire emergency situations, passed out on planes because of fibroids. So I praise God that you are here with us, that you are alive to tell the story of 47 fibroids, that you're alive to be able to drop that F-bomb about them 47 fibroids. I'm so grateful to you that you that you came on, that you commented, I saw it, and that you were able to go live with me, Broken Brown Egg, Virginia Townsend says 47 fibroids equals cuss a little. Bam. Exactly. Like we ain't gonna say we can all say what the fuck about 47 fibroids. You got that, girl. You can do it.
Just to button it up. That's how I ended up being in the hospital for a week because I was very sick. So I ended up being in the hospital for 7 days after that because my blood pressure went through the roof. My white blood count was so low. And it explained why I was losing so much blood.
Losing so much blood, April. Yeah. And that's the thing, is losing so much blood, which is why this type of awareness is so good. I love you, sis. I love you
too, sis.
For being brave enough to take those steps in that journey and to tell us, everybody here on live, and it'll be on the website as well. But thank you for being an advocate in this moment to make sure that people can hear your story, to know that, what's so interesting about this, before I let you guys go, is that Monica had one fibroid. And on the screen to my right here is a woman that had 47, y'all. So do you understand why it's so important that we discuss this and that we tell our daughters, our nieces, our nephews, that we let everybody know the things that women can deal with so that we can support each other, get the right doctors, get the
Yes,
right
that's
care,
important.
get the right care. It's so important. So thank God that you are alive, that you are here to tell the story. I am going to connect with you after this. I'm
I'm
going
Yes.
to
so
make
happy I
sure.
came on. I was like, look at my girl looking beautiful. I thought she was on here just kiki. And I was like, what you talk about serious stuff? Okay.
Because I haven't seen April in years, and all of a sudden I see the comments. She's like, "Girl, I have 47." I was like, "Get your hair done," because you're gonna have to tell us here on Warrior Wednesday. So thank you so much for being live with us,
Absolutely.
you guys. As I wrap this up, I want to thank Monica Day. I want to thank April Nixon in Brooklyn. Thank you both for being here. Thank you to the whole community. July 15th, I am hosting Night in White for the White Dress Project. And you can follow them at We Can Wear White, at We
Yes.
Can Wear White on Instagram, July 15th. We're going to be doing stuff about fibroids on every Warrior Wednesday coming up to that gala, to that night. So April, I will hit you. Maybe we will have you back here at Warrior Wednesdays. Thank you again, all the
You're
way
so
from
welcome.
Brooklyn. I
Thank
used to
you
live
so
on
much for
Sterling. I
telling
used
your
to live on
story.
Sterling Place. So if you're around Sterling Place, go send me back to
I'm
where
on
that.
Rockaway. I'm on Rockaway Ave.
Yeah, okay. Well, if you're on Sterling between
Bye,
Underhill and
y'all.
Vanderbilt. Thank you, April. Love to
Thank you,
you.
Love you
April.
too.
God
Bye,
bless you.
bye. Bye, Monica.
Bye, love.
Bye.
Bye. All right, Monica, before we get off, can you just quickly tell them about Night in White, and then we will wrap this whole thing up?
Yes. Well, as Kalay's been saying, Night in White is July 15th. It is a virtual gala. It is our fundraiser so that we can continue to raise funds to have our programs for education and research for fibroid awareness. We will have Representative Yvette Clark coming on. She will be live. She will be talking about, and I want to get this right, so I wrote it down. It is a bill that she introduced in the House, the Stephanie Tubbs Jones Uterine Fibroid Research and Education Act of 2021. It is HR 2007. Now, you can also go on our website to sign the petition so you can get your members of Congress and your senators to sign on to this bill. We need your help. Go on to the whitedressproject.org and you can sign our petition for this bill. You can also see the full calendar for Fibroid Awareness Month. On July 1st, please wear your white and post it on social media. Hashtag We Can Wear White. We have also, you touched on the mental health aspect. We have a dialogue with the doctors coming up in the month, and we're going to be talking about the mental health aspect of living and dealing with uterine fibroids. We will also have what you mentioned, the Eggs Over Easy film, the documentary, the Red Alert, and we have a cinema night going on. We'll be talking about 3 different documentaries that talk about fibroids and infertility and women's reproductive health. We have an advocacy day coming up. We have a taboo talk. If you're in Houston, Texas, that is an in-person event. We have a lot going on during Fibroid Awareness Month. But yes, July 15th is our key marquee event at Virtual Gala. You want to be there. You want to get the information, hear the patient stories, hear the physicians talk. Hear Representative Yvette Clark talk. Hear from our board chair, Tanika. She is the founder and board chair of the White Dress Project.
Yes, and Tanika has been on here. We are so proud of her.
Yes, we are. She is amazing. I'm so happy that I was able to connect with her and the White Dress Project back in 2018 at this same gala when it was in person. And now I am happy to be a board member as the Director of Fund and Development. This is my way of getting through that survivor's guilt, to know that even though I have a triumphant story and know that so many women do not have the same story, just like we heard from April, that everyone's story is different. Some of us have a triumphant story. Some of us have a little more story that's a little more traumatizing. But no matter what your story is, you can tell it, you can speak on it, you can take back your power. And our motto this year is we are no longer silent. For years, we have been breaking down the walls of silence. We are no longer silent. We are going to speak up, and we are going to talk about these issues and support our sisters that have other reproductive health issues.
Well, let me tell you something. Ma'am, Monica Day, you have said all of the things and then some. Regina Townsend says send her the info. She's going to put it on the egg. That's the broken brown egg, y'all.
Definitely.
The whitedressproject.org. July 15th is the night in white. Come join us. Follow them on Instagram. We're going to be talking about this all through the end of June up until July and through the night of July 15th. We are going to let the people know that we is not dealing with these fibroids by ourselves. It is not going down like that.
Nope.
Monica, I want to thank you for your transparency. I want to thank you for your love. I want to thank you for your dedication to speaking truth to power when it comes to fibroids and when it comes to women's health and infertility. I love your absolute genuine heart. I love working with you. I love getting to know you better, talking to you, and you have a bunch of new prayer warriors on your side. So
thank you so much.
Thank you for being part of the Warrior Wednesday community. Thank you for answering the call as of yesterday.
Yeah,
and
look,
getting
it was God. It was God.
It was all good. And thank you for being fabulous and blonde and looking gorgeous and doing the whole thing.
Hey, look, the godson, look, for all y'all don't know, the godson that I keep talking about that's on his way, it's his mother who keeps me looking fly.
His mother that keeps you looking fly.
Honey, she created this unit. She beats the face, honey, if you're in DC.
I'm gonna need a unit like that. So thank you. Thank you so much. I will talk to you again. You guys follow Monica as well. And like I said, I did her podcast, Tea Time with Monica. I'll repost it in the story so you can listen to her interviewing me. And we cried. We cried there too, y'all. So it's amazing. As Regina says, good luck on your appointment on Friday and all the things that you have coming up. We are here to support you. Reach out to any of the warriors here on Warrior Wednesday. Whenever you need us, consider the answer yes. That's what we say here. The answer is always going to be yes. So much love to you. Thank you guys for joining. I will see you next week on Warrior Wednesdays. I love y'all.
I'm
going to post this.
Bye.
All right, love. Talk soon.